Hello, Rachel. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so happy to talking to you. And to begin with the interview, can you tell us what was the most difficult part of writing this story?
The most difficult part for me when writing any story is coming up with ideas. Once I've actually got the idea and I've done all the plotting and planning and I've decided what's going to happen, then the actual writing is really easy and I find it almost writes itself.
And this story has suspense, intrigue, secrets, but it's also quite emotional. How did you decide to combine these two elements?
I really like psychological horror where you feel something for the main character. So, for instance, I decided I wanted to write a ghost story and I
Yes.
wanted the ghost to be helpful in some way. I wanted there to be a twist. And once I decided that my ghosts were going to be friendly in a way, I then realised that I need more suspense and more horror. So I introduced the idea of the Draugr. And in Norse mythology, that's a corpse risen from the dead like a zombie. So that's how I tried to combine something that was quite emotional and friendly, that the ghost was um, important to Martha because they're her ancestors, but also include more scary aspect.
Okay, and what were the key elements that help you shape your main character?
When I came up with the character of Martha, I started to research Norse mythology. And I decided that because she's a descendant of Odin, that she should be blind in one eye, as Odin was. And I also discovered that Hel, the queen of the underworld who rules over the dead, she's literally half living and half dead. So half of her face is a skeleton, half human, which is why I decided that Martha should look very different on two sides of her face. So she looks like normal on one side, but then she's blind and disfigured on the other. And I wanted to bring that duality, that theme of duality to life through her.
Okay, in this story, how important was it for you to show how women from different generations influence each other?
I really like the idea of how skills and knowledge and magic can be passed down through the female line. And the Vikings, they very much believed that magic was women's work. It's something that women did. So while the warriors were off in battle, invading lands, the women were at home and they did their magic literally muttering spells while they were spinning and weaving to ensure a good outcome. And in mythology, Odin's wife Frigg is nearly always shown at a spinning wheel or weaving, and that's because she was the one who did magic. So I thought it'd be really nice if Martha could inherit her powers, her magical gift, through a long line of women.
At the end of the story, Martha realized how important was to tell her own story. In your opinion, what is the greatest power of telling our own story?
I think there is a great power in vulnerability. So being able to say, these are the good aspects of me, and these are the darker aspects, and just being able to be honest. So I think there's a great sense of if you can be vulnerable and show that your whole self, the good and the bad, then that's the best way to to say who you are.
And finally, what do you hope readers take away from your book?
I just hope that they really enjoy the story. So I wanted it to be very entertaining, the kind of thing that you race through because you want to know what happens. And then maybe the kind of story that lingers with you. So a few days later, you might remember the atmosphere and how it made you feel. Or you might be going to sleep at night on your own in your bedroom and you notice something move in the shadows. So that's what I was hoping, that it would stay with people for various reasons.
Take for sure. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience as an author?
So I've always loved writing ever since I was at school. I used to write horror books, always scary things. I used to make folded up bits of paper and staple them and draw a front cover. And my mum would actually take them away from me because I'd frighten myself with the stories I wrote. I always wrote scary things. I've written a book for a horror for younger readers, but I'm planning
Yeah.
to write another one for teenagers. So I'm just working on ideas now.
And how about romance?
Romance, maybe a tiny bit of romance, but I'm sticking with the atmospheric horror.
Okay, maybe Ghost in Love or something like that.
Yeah, there'll be ghosts. There'll be a bit of romance, a lot of ghosts. I'm thinking maybe vampires. I haven't decided yet.
I don't know if you can tell us more about the cover.
The cover,
Yes.
yes.
Did you
So,
decide or
yeah, I worked with the designers on the cover, and I really wanted to something that captured the theme of the book. So for me, the theme of the book is duality. So Martha goes to stay at the Lofoten Islands in Norway, and for 6 months of the year, it's nearly constantly dark and it's near constantly light. And hell is, like I said, half living, half dead. So I really wanted this idea of black and white duality, and the line across the middle is the underworld and then the living world above. So I think they've really done a good job of capturing the sense of life and death with a skeleton crow.
now I will read the questions we received from social media, from
Okay.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Jane with Book says, why did you decide to write this story? Was it something that you had been developing for a long time?
The story actually came about when I did a tarot course. So I went on a course to learn tarot reading. And the lady who was teaching the course is a Norse shaman. So she believes in gods like Odin and Thor and Loki as real beings that she can talk with. And she was explaining the meaning of the different tarot cards. And there's one card that really intrigued me, and that's the Hanged Man. And it shows Odin hanging from Yggdrasil. And she told the story of the Norns and hell and why he hung himself. And I just thought, I really love that story. And then I started to find ways how I could use it and turn it into a novel.
Okay, the next question is from Devoradora de Libros. How did you decide the twist of the story?
Um, I didn't really set out to write a story with lots of twists. I just wanted to take the reader on a journey of discovery so that they join Martha as she finds out the mystery of why she can touch people's clothes and get a sense of their emotions and feelings. So really, it was just following her discovery.
The next question is from Ari Mondragon. Why did you decide to introduce supernatural elements in the story?
I've always had an interest in ghosts. I actually grew up in a haunted house. So I had
Wow.
several strange experiences as a child, and some of them I've put in the story. One of the things that happened to me is I saw my mum collected dolls, clown dolls particularly, and the room was full of them. They were everywhere. And one day I saw one of these things fall from a shelf, and its
No.
hand seemed to go like that. And I saw several other things in the house, but that stayed with me. And that's partly why there's a part in the story where there's a doll that comes to life, because that scared me as a child.
Okay. The next question is from Andy. Who is your favorite character and why?
My favourite character is Gandalf the dog.
Okay.
I think he knows a lot more. And if he could speak, he would probably say something really wise. And he's very loyal and very brave.
Okay. Now, the questions we received in Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Martinez asked, if you had superpowers, would you prefer to be able to know people's past or future?
It's a really interesting question.
Yes.
I think their future, because then I could tell them that everything's going to be okay and it was all going to work out for them and it would be reassuring. And if I saw something bad would happen, then I wouldn't say anything because I don't think it helps to know.
Okay. The next is from Luis Miguel Lopez. Is there a hidden message that you think readers should pay more attention to?
I think readers will pick up on several messages. There's nothing in particular. Me personally, I really like the idea of Vikings towards fate. So I explained it in the book is to be like weaving. So the Norns give us certain things in life that we can't change. So whether we're born healthy or not, whether we're born rich or poor, where we're born, when. And this is like when you weave, these are the vertical lines of thread. But the choices we make that go across
Okay.
are can build a different pattern. So we can still make a really good life through the choices we make. It's not all that fate decides everything for us. We can still have our own destiny.
So interesting. Paulina Galindo, who is your favorite part about writing young adult literature?
I really like writing for teenagers because I think it's a time in our lives where we're discovering ourselves and our place in the world. And that can be scary, but it's also really exciting because it's full of possibility that anything could happen.
Okay. And the last question is from Marlon Fernandez.
Mm-hmm.
What motivates you to make the Twisted Treat known in Latin America? Greetings and congratulations. I hope as a thriller writer you do very well.
Oh, thank you. So, as an author, I don't get to choose which countries decide to buy the book. So, 6 different countries have bought the book and translated it into their language. I've had such an amazing response, though, from readers in Mexico. I loved seeing all the posts on Instagram and the party, which was a real surprise to me that you were doing all that. So it's been wonderful to know that it's being read so far away across the world. I just want to thank all of the readers in Mexico for all of your support. I really hope that you've enjoyed reading the books, and I'd love to hear from you if you want to contact me on social media.